Hey guys, so today is going to be a lot of fun because I'm actually going to be taking you with me to my preferred lender's office. So this is who I use for all things loan. He's amazing, and he's going to be answering some really great questions that you might have if you're new to real estate, in real estate, or if you're thinking about buying or selling a home. So let's go meet Steve. Hey guys, so I'm here with Steve with Fairway Mortgage. This is my lender partner that I was telling you about, who's amazing.
Hi everyone.
I am so excited for you to hear from the best. Truly the reason why I work with him and his team is because there is no better lender that I've found that's better than them. I mean, they're on top of it, they understand what's going on. So if you're watching this, you're new to real estate, thinking about getting into real estate, you literally are about to hear some amazing tips from one of the greatest lenders I've ever met. So Steve.
Hi everyone.
Do you want to say anything or tell them anything about you?
No, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I've been in the business for 22 years. Started in operations, and I've been a loan officer for the last 14 years. We specialize in business development with real estate agents as well as doing loans. Our biggest claim to fame is that we feel that the loan part of it, we've got that down. That's our job. We should know that. So we've really tried to delve into and deal with how real estate agents can take their business to the next level, and we use that on a daily basis to try to help agents grow their business, which in reality helps us grow our business. And that's the way we deal with our referral partners. And they're amazing at it.
All right guys, so some of these questions some of you sent to me, and then some of them I just actually decided to ask for Steve because I remember being a new agent and thought that these were some of the really great questions that you might want to have answered also. So the first question is, when you have a new lead, Steve, how long does the application process usually take, and how does it work?
So when you give us a new lead, our goal, without question, is to get in touch with that client within an hour.
Nice.
The reason why is the quicker we can get in touch with that client, the real estate conversation is already on their mind. So we're trying to keep that as warm as possible. So our delivery is very crucial that we get it within that first hour.
Okay.
We try to do everything over the phone if possible. Again, the quicker we get the data, the quicker you can go start looking for homes. So ideally, we try to do an application over the phone. That process takes about 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay.
Once we get that data, our goal is to have an answer back with you within 4 hours.
Got it.
So when you hear people say that it's gonna take like 5 days to get pre-qualified, that is a lender who really, in my opinion, is really looking at it from a transactional basis instead of a relational basis. Our goal is to get you an answer as quick as possible. One, because they're hot and they're ready to trot. And then two, the more that real estate conversation is embedded into their mind in the first 24 hours, the better off they are in terms of executing, going out looking for homes, listing their current home if they're doing both. It just keeps it very fresh and very alive and very positive. We try to stay as positive as we can.
And you guys are.
In the transaction.
And something else that's really cool about Steve and his team also is that they're so good at making sure that the person actually is qualified. So whenever I send somebody to Steve and he sends them back, I know that it's someone that's actually gonna turn into a deal. You guys do such a great job at actually making sure that the person is pre-qualified, because some lenders, they'll say they are, and then when you're under contract, next thing you know, somehow they're not. So I appreciate that you guys are so thorough in making sure that they actually are solid leads.
Yes, and I'll say one thing about that, and again, when you're dealing with things relationally, there's a lot of importance to that. If we gave a client back that was pre-qualified and all of a sudden it blows up, relationally the deals that Lily and I do together would come into question. She's like, and then there's gonna be a little doubt in her mind the next time. Are they really pre-qualified? Is there gonna be an issue that comes up? So we really do, and we dig hard. We build rapport quickly with our clients. We dig hard to make sure that nothing is gonna come up that's gonna prevent them from buying the home, or even worse, if we're doing a sell home first, buy another, that something's gonna come up that's gonna prevent them from getting the new home after they've already sold their current home.
So great.
Worst possible thing that I've ever heard. And it happens more often than not in our industry because loan officers aren't willing to take the extra time to actually deal with the client at that point and make it the most important thing to give you an accurate answer.
It's so great, and I love your passion when you talk about it, and that's how you can tell that he's so good at what he does. Like, he just knows his stuff. So exciting. Okay, next question. Can you explain, oh, this is a good one. Can you explain debt to income ratio from a lender's perspective?
Sure. So pretty simply, debt to income ratio. So the first thing that you should know about debt to income ratio is there's two ratios. There's a front end ratio, which is your new housing expense that you're gonna have on the new loan versus your gross income. Gross income is income prior to any taxes taken out. So we don't look at net income, even though for budgeting purposes, clients should be very aware of what their net income is because that's how they budget to buy a new home.
Right.
Your back end ratio, which is the debt to income ratio that is the most important to us, is your housing expense plus all your debt. Now, with regard to debt, a lot of people get confused at what debt is. Debt are things like that creditors give to you. Things like bills for your cell phone, gas, electric, all of those things, those are not debts in our world. Those are housing expenses that are built in when those ratios are developed by lenders for guidelines that you should be able to afford based on those ratios. So the debt we're talking about is actual debt from a creditor.
Got it.
Yep.
So good to know. Exciting. Okay. Perfect. Next question. So do you usually suggest that realtors try to pre-qual the buyer in advance to determine if they're worth your time or not before you give them a call?
So I think I know what you're asking here. So my answer to that simply is yes, and I'll go into a lot of detail. If you don't have a general grasp of what your client's financial position is, they're probably not going to release all the information to you because you're not their financial person. You're their real estate agent.
Of course.
You're part of the financial process. But if you don't have a general idea of what they can and can't do, you could be leading the blind.
That's so true.
So it's like the blind leading the blind, and you're just like, where do I go with this? Now, when you do that, so if you have a buyer that says that they had a bankruptcy 8 months ago, one, that doesn't mean that you should just throw them to the wind and never talk to them again. But you can pretty much bet they can't get a loan for probably at least another year or two. So you need to figure out a way to develop a relationship and a drip campaign to get them set up to be ready to buy. Because remember, the more you spend with buyers today, even if they can't buy today, you get referrals from that person.
My alarm just went off, guys. Hold on. Sorry about that. That was so good, Steve. And we're gonna keep it going. My alarm just went off to post new listing. I don't know if you can see that, but it's a good thing. Sorry.
Very cool. Always good for business.
I know.
So the more you can do it, because keep in mind, you help a buyer that can't buy, they're going to remember that. They may give you referrals. They may develop relationships with other people that are ready to buy homes. All of those things become a way for you to build your sphere of influence to help out and grow your business.
I love that too. I like that it's not just, they don't qualify, that's it, they're done. It's about following up with them, because you're right, most lenders are gonna be like, oh, they're not qualified. But if we're the ones who keep in contact with them and keep them in mind, it's like, that's a client for life later. So good. All right, let's see, next question. Which types of loans, and I think this would be a tricky question, but let's just say I'm a buyer and I'm like, Steve, what types of loans are the best?
Trickiest question you've probably asked. I kind of cracked up at this when you gave me a list of questions. You know, everyone has their opinion of what's the best loan. The answer for the best loan is very simple. It's whatever meets your client's needs.
Makes sense.
Everyone goes conventional's the cheapest, FHA's the worst, it's the most expensive. Not necessarily true on any level. But if your client only meets one requirement and they are dying to buy a house, how is that the wrong loan for them? The problem is that our preconceived notions don't allow a buyer to have their own notions and their own thoughts and opinions about what is best for them. So I do very little advising and I do a lot of educating and asking questions on what they're trying to do. How long are they gonna live in the home? Are they planning on having more kids if they have one kid? You know, is their income gonna change in the next 5 years? A lot of these things, lenders today don't really ask and they don't care about because it's all about getting that deal. But relationally speaking, when you have a buyer whose their family's gonna grow, they're having twins in 3 months, and if you wouldn't ask the question, you wouldn't know. They're like, I'm like, oh, that's why you're buying this big of a house. And they're like, yeah, we don't wanna use all of our money because we're gonna have some expenses for the twins that are coming up. If you don't ask questions, you could really be putting them in the wrong loan without even knowing that you're putting them in the wrong loan. So to me, the type of loan that's best for them is whatever's best for the client.
Got it.
And with regard to, you know, expenses or quality of loan, conventional loans, if you have really good credit, assuming the bar is set high with credit above 700, conventional loans tend to be the cheapest loan.
Okay.
FHA loans tend to be a more expensive loan,
Okay.
but they allow people more opportunities who are a little credit challenged.
Got it. Okay.
VA loans are probably the best loan out there for veterans because most of them can go with 0 down. They don't have to spend any of their cash. They can use it for their family, and they have no mortgage insurance on that. They just have to pay a funding fee normally up front.
Right.
And there's another loan that's rarely heard of in today's market in the big cities, but there is a loan called a USDA loan, which allows you to live in rural areas and still do 0 down for very little mortgage insurance.
Got it.
It's actually a very cheap loan.
Very, very cool.
So those are kind of a breakdown of some of the loans, but in terms of what's best, it's really up to the client. And I truly believe that the client should help you. They should give you the information, then you can advise them, but you shouldn't advise anyone before you have the information first.
Makes sense.
Yep.
That sets them apart. It shows that you care and you actually want to get them what's best for them.
Absolutely.
Love that.
Yep.
Okay, so last question that I wanted to ask. What is the current interest rate and are they expected to go up? Let me just say, guys, this is the biggest question that I always get, so.
$1 million question.
I know, right?
We get this question asked every day. Deal gets into contract. Should I lock in? Are rates gonna move?
Yeah.
So first off, rates move at a very slow pace, except in extreme economic conditions. Administration changes are an economic condition. Stock market tanking, stock market doing really well. You know, China, the tariff issue with China, that gets resolved. The stock market's gonna go a little crazy. Could have a little slightly negative effect on rates. The long-term outlook on interest rates right now is flat. Believe it or not, it's actually slightly lower right now. To tell you how important this is, what I just said, take a grain of salt, look at it, and throw it on the table. Last year in November, the rates are going crazy. They're going to be 7% by 2020.
I remember that.
So everyone was going crazy. Remember, everyone out there who's talking about rates on a global level is there trying to make an economic opinion about what's going to happen in the future. But there's a lot of things that go into for interest rates on a daily basis. Should the economy stay the way it is, though, and it be, stable growth, stable inflation, rates should actually stay flat to slightly downward over the next 6 to 12 months.
Cool.
Now,
Great.
Are they expected to go up? A lot of that's the $1 million question in the interest rate market is that the market becomes more electronic and more technology driven. The cost of doing mortgages being challenged every day. If you notice rates, even when they move 1/8 and a quarter, they don't move like they did back 10 years ago, or they can move 0.5% in a week. You don't see a lot of that. And the reason being is because market compression, which is something in our world that we deal with every day, is basically the tightening of and the questioning of how much money is made on loans. And the tighter that gets on Wall Street, the thinner the margin is, therefore the tighter the range at which mortgages move upward and downward decreases.
Got it.
Which is good for the economy overall. There are a lot of people that say that the days of 10% interest rates are gone because the economy is way too competitive to allow those kind of things to happen, and they deal in a tighter range now. Remains to be seen, but that's what a lot of people say.
Interesting.
Yep.
So good. So right now is the time to buy, for right now at least, because they're
Absolutely.
good and they might even get a little bit lower. We'll see, but yeah, that could be
Sure.
good.
And for those in this market, if you're local in the market is still, median income wise versus median price wise is still rather low and compared to a lot of places in the country, which is what's driving our market here locally.
Cool.
As well. So
exciting.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, I hope this information was helpful for you, because I know, as I said, as I was a new agent in the business, these are some of the questions that I had. Thank you so much, Steve, for taking time out of your day to, have this interview with me and for them. If you guys have any other questions about it, feel free to comment them below and I'll be happy to ask Steve and get back to you when I can. Again, Steve, if anybody wants to find you, because they're a real estate agent, they're doing really well and they just want to talk to you, or they're new to the business but they have so many goals of what they want to do, what states again are you licensed in?
We're licensed in Washington, Oregon, California, Arizona, Texas, and Florida.
Great. And what's your website?
Our website is TucsonWalkerTeam.com.
Great, and I'll put that on the description or on the screen as well. Thank you so much, Steve.
Absolutely.
Again, guys, you just want to sound versed at the loan side to a certain extent. That way, when you're talking to your clients, it doesn't sound like you're confused and you have a little bit of information.
Yeah, and if anyone has any specific questions, if they want to send them to you and you just want to forward it to me, I'll answer it back to you.
Cool.
You can go down that. So anything that you guys need, I'm more than happy to help. Anything to grow our business for everyone. So
I appreciate it.
Yep, absolutely.
Thanks so much, Steve.